having.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Tanisha Locs and more. To my new subscribers, thank you, welcome, and I appreciate you. And I'm here at Nu Loc Natural Hair Boutique in Teaneck, New Jersey with my loctician, Miss Fennell Anderson, and also a newbie, Jalyssa, aka Jalyssa. And we're having a mukbang. So a mukbang is just conversation over food, and we have Clientele with grilled chicken and broccoli. We have calamari, and we also have garlic knots with delicious marinara sauce.
And sangria.
And I just want to ask Miss Fennell some questions, because she has been in the game for over 20 years, 25 years. Mm-hmm. And so she was telling the story about how she arrived at where she is right now. So she got Sisterlocks in
98.
She was not sure of the process, so she went about how long without a retie?
A couple of months. May, June, July, August, September.
She went a long time without a retie, guys. Okay, do not try this at home if you have Sisterlocks. Not a good look. And so then she took the Sisterlock class and learned how to do her own retie.
Yep. Took the full course.
Mm-hmm. And then people saw her hair and liked her hair and wanted to know what it was. And so when she went for her full certification, that's how you found your clients.
Found clients before my full certification.
Okay.
Because you had to have some hair that you were doing, some heads that you were doing, and you had to submit your papers and your documents, along with pictures of their parts and their parting sizes and the hair texture. It was a full questionnaire. So after several attempts, I finally acquired my Sisterlocks certification. This is Donavan. Donavan is a lady stylist that works in the salon alongside me. This is live, so that's the fun part of it. So they're going to talk about us and ask a whole bunch of questions.
This is Donavan. Donavan, how long have you been a loctician?
About
21 years.
Yeah, she's been alongside me since I started my journey prior to the Sisterlock.
Okay. So we have over 20 years of experience and 18 years. Donavan started when she was 2. She doesn't look a day over 20.
And I started when I was 5.
But she started when she was 5.
So black don't crack, girls.
No, it does not. Right. Okay, so then you become certified, and you transition from just doing it every now and again to it becoming your profession.
Yep.
What were you doing before?
I was the director of marketing and promotions for WBLS WLIB Radio, the only black-owned radio station in the United States at the time. Well, I can't say United States, in the tri-state area, but the longest black-owned radio station in a while. Frankie Crocker. Oh God, I'm telling my age now. But I was a little itty-bitty thing. I was like 6. Yeah.
And we are in New Jersey, so the the tri-state area is New York, northern New Jersey, and Connecticut. Certain port with the southern tip, I don't know, but it's New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. That's the tri-state area.
So it was a journey. It wasn't a very popular hairstyle because of the lack of knowledge. I guess, when people saw it, they either thought it was little braids or 2-strand twist. But it started to catch on. But it was 3 clients for the first couple of years. And I had to master that because I was still working at the radio station. And I hired people to do their thing. My son, actually, this is his baby because he's the one that does hair. He's the barber. His name is Martise. He has the chop shop in Teaneck, New Jersey, very famous. Well, it's my son, so he's famous. But he was the brainchild. And he wanted to open up a barbershop in Teaneck. And I said, Teaneck don't need another barbershop. We need like custom needed entrance. What we need to do is come up with a different concept. Why don't we open up a natural hair care salon and you be the only barber in there? And a lot of people were migrating to Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is like the hair mecca of, the tri-state area. And they would bypass Harlem, bypass the Bronx, and Brooklyn, known for its rich culture and black-owned businesses. Everybody was going there.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew a couple of people that were doing locks in regular hair salons. So the niche was to lure those stylists into an all-natural environment. And it being the first one in the Bergen County area, I wanted to make it look different, something that represented who we were, with our culture, with our art. And when I found out that the water cosmetology, there was no standard on your furniture and stuff like that. You had to have your sanitation and all that other stuff. So you followed the basic guidelines. You could just basically build around that. And I said, well, we need to give people something to make us stand out from another hair salon and or braid shop. Mm-hmm. So that's when I came up with the antique furniture. Stuff that, people would come in and lend itself to who we were. But you saw that in Brooklyn, but you didn't see that anywhere in this area. So that was a good thing. And I enjoyed decorating, and the clients started to come in, and the other stylists would bring in their own clients. Mm-hmm. And I had my 2 or 3 little Sisterlocks clients, and I was still working, so it was cool. It was all right.
And how did you build your clientele over the years?
Word of mouth. Okay. Word of mouth, and working, at the radio station. I was one of the organizers for Circle of Sisters, which was...
Say that one more time.
Circle of Sisters, for BLS. And I introduced Sisterlocks there at the radio station event. It was at on the pier on the west side. Hillary Clinton cut the ribbon. It was a really huge event. And I wanted to focus on natural hair. And of course, it was a great platform for me to advertise my business. So being an organizer, I took advantage of that. Joanne Cromwell from Sisterlocks organization was a little, apprehensive, because at that time, she didn't want the technique to be publicly on display. Right. So I had to work behind the screen, But, that was the birth of that. Mm-hmm. The introduction to Sisterlocks. And then I had these beautiful locks with this beautiful color, and it was like a walking billboard. So it kind of caught on gradually. It attracted a lot of people in the educational field, teachers, people that were looking to transition but didn't want to do the regular locks and didn't want to do the braids, didn't want to wear a weave. So this was the best thing for them. And, in the community, it just started to grow. I think that that time we had the internet, but it wasn't Facebook. What was it? MySpace. MySpace. Way and there was a little blogging here and there, but I did all the events. Kwanzaa Fest,
right?
The Harlem Week, Brooklyn events.
So, what advice would you have for someone who is considering becoming a Sisterlocks consultant, and then someone who is considering getting Sisterlocks?
Educate themselves on the process, on both ends. Do your homework. It's not about just looking at YouTube and going to University of YouTube and listening to everybody else. You know, everybody has an opinion on
Right.
what you should and should not do.
Right.
You have to base this on your experience. And I'm talking about the person who is on the receiving end of the system. There's a lot of options out there. There are cousin locks, makeup locks, little locks, big locks. I can do locks.
Right.
The technique is common. It's caught on. You know, Joanne couldn't hold on to that technique forever, but she will always be the first one. But the best form of flattery is somebody to copy you, so you know that you're good. You want an original person. You want to see that they have the correct tools that they are using, and they follow the patterns, and they lay the grid down correctly, and they're educating you on your hair and your situation, and you're also providing them with information about your particular lifestyle, because everything that you do is going to affect the way that your locks develop. If you sweat, if you exercise, if you're a person that picks in their hair, or you just do things that only you know that you do, you need to share that with your stylist. During your journey, before your journey, and after your journey. Communication is very key. Everybody has different textures throughout their hair. Everybody has different densities throughout their hair. You know, there are places in your hair that you can go small. There are places in your hair that you can go big. But that depends on your particular circumstance. When I'm doing a sister lock hair, I let your hair speak to me. I'm not going to promise that you're going to have micro locks throughout your head, because your hair might not permit me to do that. If your hair is curly, if it's slippery, or you have oil that's coming out of your system, all that plays a part in your journey. For someone who is thinking about, oh, this is something that I want to do, this is not a hobby. This is how people take care of themselves. You can't go into your stylist salon and see all this movement and assume she's making a lot of money and say, oh, I can do that on my spare time. This is a lot of work. You need to be educated about healthy hair. You need to be able to identify when somebody is having scalp issues. And if you're doing it from out of your home and you have not been exposed to any of this stuff, how are you going to know when somebody's coming to you with a problem? You just know, oh, I'm just doing these system locks. You know, and that, I think you're cheating yourself.
Do you
Go to a barber course that they offer, which is a lot less than taking a full beauty course. And in the barber course, they'll let you identify areas, scalp, and things of that nature. Safety, skin, how to identify certain things, like a preliminary into stepping into the real world. People are paying money for this. They could take this money and go on a vacation, put a down payment on a car. You know, and there's a lot of people that are offering the same services. Make sure that your space lends itself to somebody spending that quality time with you. Don't have a bunch of, you know, distractions going on when you're servicing someone. You know, you're forming a relationship. This is not a wham bam, thank you ma'am moment. We're forming a relationship. I gotta like you, and you gotta like me.
And let's segue into customer service. You provide ultimate customer service. And so what advice do you have for Sisterlocks consultants? Because a lot of Sisterlocks consultants, well, I won't say a lot, but there are some who do hair in their home, not in the salon. So what suggestions or advice would you have as far as returning emails, phone calls, the actual experience for an establishment, since it can be a very lengthy process? Like for me, my establishment was 30 hours over 3 days. So we spent a lot of time together, and you made the experience very pleasurable. So what advice would you give to consultants or even hairstylists that could be watching about ultimate customer service, because it makes a difference?
I would say on the business side, when you are going into a particular service, make sure that your surroundings lend itself to the service that you provide. Cleanliness is one. Make sure that your area is clean and sanitized, especially since we've just been through this COVID experience, which has presented a challenge. Cuts down the time and makes you do the things that you're supposed to do on a regular basis, but you just had to do it more.
Right.
I treated my salon as if it was a doctor's office, because I wanted to make sure that when I presented, when I came back, that I made sure that I ensured that everybody was safe. Customer service communication is so key. Get to know the person. Ask questions about who they are. It's not just about doing their hair. Take notes. And if you can't remember, make sure that you have a computer system that lends itself to what you do, whereby generating emails, text messages, reminders for birthdays. You can even put in notes about the last conversation that you had, because you forget a lot.
Right.
You forget a lot. You are giving yourself, and it's not about the stylist, it's about that client that's sitting in that chair. And anything that you have to do to make that client happy, you do.
Okay.
And that's really important. When you are in the service industry, people tip based on the service that they give. And you can always know if, in fact, the service you gave was good or bad from your tip. Waitresses know that. Bartenders know that. And people that want to return back to that space and to that person. Now, I've always wanted to ensure that if anything would happen to me, scheduling, sickness, I provided a comfortable atmosphere, and you get to know the other stylists in the salon. So if I, for any reason, can't do it, you feel uncomfortable because you've seen, you've studied. So you're not out here with a flashlight in the daylight looking for a stylist who you can't find. They're very, very picky, and they're worried about the amount of time and the amount of people that they are in their personal space. You just don't want anybody in your head.
Right.
And every time you go to a new place, is a new experience. And oftentimes black women will get mad for something that happened in the salon and get pissed off and leave, and you never see them again. That's where that communication is really important. We're a black business and we're black women. We stand on our principles, and it's very important that you don't leave mad. You need to communicate with that person what the problem is or what the issue is, or you're happy, sad, because they're the only person that can fix it. That's going to affect their business. And if they don't know, they're going to continue to make the mistake without knowing. And it's really sad to hear it on social media that you have messed up, and you're like, what?
Because that's what happens. People will take to social media.
It'll take it. And right now, people will put you on blast.
Yes.
And you'll be sitting around going, well, what happened?
Yeah.
And I know, as an owner, it affects the business. If one of the clients comes in and they rave about a stylist, it's always the stylist that they rave about. But when something goes wrong, it's the salon.
Yeah.
And I don't know nothing about it. That's really hurtful. That's very hurtful. And you need to explain to people what's going on, because you never know what somebody else is going or has gone through during any part of the day. And everybody's allowed to have a moment. A moment. There's death, and there's sadness, there's heartbreak, there's child sickness. They could be sick and not even know it. People having mental breakdowns right now. People wear their feelings on their sleeve. Everybody's not happy and smiling just because we're here. A business must go on. But, I just think that, some clients need to slack up on the stylist and just communicate. And the stylists need to be a lot more accountable for what they do and educate their clients on what they're doing. I've had several clients come in and say, "Oh, she cut my hair." I was like, "Well, did she tell you she cut it?" "No." "Do you know why she cut it?" "No." Or, "Oh, my locks are too big." Well, I am not going to encourage a conversation like that, a negative. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to say, "Well, I wasn't there with your open hair, so I don't know what your situation was. But you've been going to the stylist for a long time. Don't you think that she deserves to defend herself about what happened?" So I'm not going to say that her work is bad, because I don't know.
Right.
You were happy with it when you were spending that money for whatever reason. So I think you owe her that communication. Now, if you decide, "Well, I really don't want to," then that's up to you. But as a stylist and as a businesswoman, I'm not going to engage in just talking about somebody just because, you're upset. I'm not going to feed into that negative.
Right.
I'm going to uplift and try to communicate with them.
Right. So where do you see the sister lock industry 5 years from now? As far as clientele, new consultants, do you think this is just a trend that's going to fade off into the sunset, or is it here to stay?
I think I believe it is here to stay.
Okay.
Because in 1998, it was beginning for me, but in 1992, it was beginning for somebody else. So, I've seen it, I've never seen it peak like it's peaking right now.
Okay.
But who's to say 10 years from now? I think it's a style that's going to be around for a while, and it's being accepted more. And not really accepted. We're accepting it more. We're not allowing, society to tell us what to do or what looks good and what doesn't look good. We're in it, right, to dictate what we do with our own personal experience. People say, "Oh, I didn't think it was acceptable." Well, who said it wasn't? And who said it was? I mean, this is the stuff that we were born with. I can't erase it. We tried to alter it, following behind our counterparts, because we wanted to look like them. Now we're seeing more of ourselves, and we're embracing how we look naturally, instead of going by, "Well, I want to look like that Barbie doll," or "I want to look like that Raggedy Ann," or "I want to look like Farrah Fawcett, and I want my hair to flow." Well, we have lots now that are able to flow, and if not, we have so many options with our hair. But I just, hope and wish that we continue to, embrace how we look naturally and not do it for somebody else.
Jalyssa.
Yeah.
Jalyssa. You just got your establishment, or you had your establishment 2 months ago. So how are you loving your locks? I think they look beautiful. Now, from a distance, I would think maybe that was like a straw. What do you call it? The straw or coil?
A coil set.
Coil set. But it's actually Sisterlocks, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I'm really liking it. I actually transitioned from traditional locks to Sisterlocks.
Okay.
So I had a lot more hair.
Oh,
She helped me to get rid of it. And she helped me to undo them, which is a lot harder than it sounds, because I tried to do them myself initially.
Right.
And it took so many hours to just undo one of them. So what I like comparing those locks to these locks is a lot lighter. When I lie down at night, I don't feel like there's something behind me that I'm pressing on. So honestly, it feels even easier to maintain than the other ones.
Okay.
So I'm really liking it.
Looks beautiful.
Thank you.
So Donavan, any comments or questions? Well, I guess any comments on your journey as a loctician?
I have some questions.
We're going to have to do a part
Really,
two.
really, I guess the biggest thing that we've come across lately is to definitely do your research. Vanessa was, mentioning that earlier. Because everybody out there is saying they're doing Sisterlocks and they're doing something else. Or they're at that point of, I'm not going to do it their way because there's a certain type of laziness in there. And we've been getting a lot of clients coming in who are displeased with their final result, and now it's up to us to help them take it out and redo it. So again, do your research. Definitely look up, definitely go in for consults, see their finished product, see what you like, see, again, talk to them. Hair texture is a big thing. That is a big thing. I have like 3 different textures in my head, I can tell you. So definitely do your research. Do your research. Go to people who are on the Sisterlocks website first, check them out. And that's the biggest thing, because it's really hard to have to break down and start over, and costly. It's already costly, and we put out a lot of hard work in here. A lot of hard work, a lot of hours.
It's tedious.
It is a very long and tedious process. So when you have people doing your hair, you have to know that you're comfortable and that your hair looks the way it can possibly look at its best and come out at its best. So yeah, definitely. If you don't come here, make sure you look to find out where to go
And here,
and be happy with.
yes, and here is Nu Loc Natural Hair Boutique in Teaneck, New Jersey. We're 20 minutes from Harlem? 30 minutes?
Not even.
No, 10.
6 miles is about 20 minutes.
Okay, 20 minutes from Harlem, Manhattan. Nu Loc Natural Hair Boutique. Founder and owner, Mr. Mel Anderson. Loctician, Donavan
Jones,
Jones, Donavan
DJ,
Jones,
and we have another stylist, Al.
And then of course I'm Tanisha, and then we have our other newbie, Jalyssa. So I hope this was informative to you guys. Like they said, you see, like on Instagram, you see a lot of girls and you think they're Sisterlocks, but it's actually something called microlocks, right?
Yes,
microlocks. Yeah, microlocks. And you can look at the grid, because the grid is somewhat the same, but I think microlocks are a little bigger.
They are.
Yeah, microlocks are a little bigger than Sisterlocks, but sometimes I really have to look to, to tell the difference, because I don't have that eye.
You really have to. I mean, if you get up close and personal, sometimes you wouldn't even know the difference visually. I think a professional would know, because we are professionals.
Right.
But to the lay person, it really does it. The big effect that they have an arc that goes down the middle of their head, and they have 460 locks as opposed to 150. It's a big difference. But that's really, really key. The amount of locks that your stylist is putting in your hair, that your hair will permit. Because if you have very thin hair, it's going to be hard to get 460 locks in your head. But that's going to be explained to you during the process. Everything is about explaining, following up with paperwork, writing stuff down, giving your stylist, your clients a contract, your birth certificate. I give you birth certificate.
Yeah, I have a birth certificate. Yes, I have a birth certificate. Yeah.
And just being there for your clients and being accessible, and teaching them what to look for along the way, and never leave them feeling stranded or lost. I had that experience. So I kind of use the concept is I want to treat people the way that I want to be treated and what I expect. But my doctor, I want follow-up calls. I want to check in on how I'm doing. Providing a safe environment for y'all. not having people sitting in the waiting room
Just
on
hanging
top
out.
of each, hanging out.
Hanging out.
That's a no-no for me. And that's one of the, watching you come in and you see a dust ball, and 6 weeks later you come in, you see the same dust ball. I was like, what? Somebody's not cleaning. People, y'all sit here, y'all ain't got nothing to do but sit. So I want to make sure that y'all got pretty things to look at, not the dust ball walking around,
Right.
Or the thing, the clip that was left there 4 weeks ago when you were here.
That has 4 inches of dust on it.
Yeah, those things count.
Right.
They count.
Right.
Making sure y'all eat good and good conversation. And we have a network of sisters here. This is the Nu Loc family. I think it's the royal court. Y'all should be treated like the queens. And y'all are not doing us any favors here. You are paying for a service that we need to be 250% on top of at all times. As you determine my livelihood, there is no vacation pay, there's no sick pay,
Right.
When we say we taking off, we always got to back up.
That's right.
But I think that maybe I should go live and let these people see what it takes to have a salon and the day-to-day operations of it. It's
I think
not
that's a
just
good
like
idea.
from cleaning the toilets to dusting to bookings to
Return calls.
returning phone calls.
Because when I had my establishment, our breaks, I was stuffing my face, but she was returning phone calls, booking appointments, and all of the, all of that type of text messaging, and all of that. And so we've come to the end because they have clients, and I truly appreciate them taking the time to do this mukbang with me. And I hope it's informative for you guys, and maybe sometime we'll get a chance to do this again. So thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.